Why you lying? When you came in here, bro, you're like, I'm about to get lit. I'm about to get high school wasted.
First time I ever got drunk was off of Four Loko.
I didn't say I was gonna get lit. But I did say I was gonna get high school wasted. Though. But even then, I wasn't really fucking with Four Locos in high school like that. What were we? I think we were just always just trying to drink jungle juice in high school. That's just like the most quickest, smoothest way to fucking get fucked up at high school parties.
Cheap and yeah.
I think it was also fun though too, because you could post for the gram. Like everybody just grabs a drink and you just pour it, and then like that's just a signal to everybody out here that it's about to go down where we're coming. So come through. It's like the little bat signal, but for parties. That's the party signal. You put that on your story, and everybody knows you.
When you were in high school, and like you had like these cases of beer and like alcohol, you just post a picture of it on Facebook, like, "Hey, we got lit."
Yeah, and then everybody just says you, "Hey, where's Addy?" And then after that, they say, "How many people are there?"
Mm-hmm. True,
always the follow.
True, that's the fuck. Yeah, you gotta. They're just trying to filter out their options. You feel me? How many? They're like girls. Yeah, the girls. It's cockpits. Ah, shit. All right. UCLA is always like that. Fuck. Do you remember when we went to Fullerton for that one?
Oh yeah, it was like a college
that was
party
a wall.
or something, right?
That was like at a fucking apartment.
Yeah. It was they were apartments, but they were college apartments, for college students.
Yeah.
I guess you could call them dorms, but not really. But yeah, we went out there for like some party, and then whose party was it? I don't know why we were there.
It was like one of the we were in soccer in high school, and it was like veterans that like, were having this little kickback, and I guess we still knew them, and they invited us out.
Why did we brought like a speaker and shit, right?
We had a speaker on us, but I don't think we brought it out because they already had their own sound system.
Okay.
That like the little iHome theater. I don't know. I remember Franny was working that shit. Yeah. Franny had dogs.
I remember just after though we went. It was like 12 in the morning. 1. We went to this Jack in the Box that I guess
we start with this story. Hear this shit, bro.
That everybody would go to after like the parties and stuff like that. So the Jack in the Box just had full of people. We bring in our big ass speaker, 15-inch speaker or whatever, into the Jack in the Box, and we played "This Is How We Do It" loud as fuck, and then the whole Jack in the Box just like starts like turning up and shit. Tight. And then we got kicked out.
Yeah, we'll add some more context to that, because it wasn't like we brought in the speaker like right away. Like we went to this like Jack in the Box to eat, but it was like so many people, so many college people, like they were just they had the munchies and some shit. It was like 1 a.m. and I don't know who brought up the idea. Somebody brought up the idea, and they were like, "Hey, we should bring in a speaker in here and just like start playing music." I forgot who brought the speaker, but
I was like, "This is where legends are made."
We had a Legends of Chamberlain Heights moment right there for sure.
It's a good memory. You guys remember that for life.
Oh, dude, that shit was like
it was cool because everybody turned up. Like we didn't look like weird or anything. It was just weird when the Jack in the Box lady came and she just unplugged it and she was like, "You gotta go." I was like, "Ah, all right."
I forgot who got the speaker. They brought it in. Someone hopped on the aux. There was a fucking electric outlet like nearby our table magically, and yeah, we just started playing music in the Jack in the Box. It was maybe like for 5 good minutes. I think we played like 2 good ass songs, bro. And I think it was like during those like 2 songs, like they were just like busy with orders because there's a lot of people there, and they had some downtime, and I guess that's when they came over and they were like, "Hey, you can't be doing this shit." Yeah, that's the most frat shit thing we ever did.
It was a time.
Yeah, that was Fullerton. Y'all know how to party, especially in a Jack in the Box, Hemi.
I love Fullerton. It's good times.
It is. It's a different environment. It's another like small college town, I think, because Fullerton's right there, like the college. So,
nah, but you already know what this is. This is a Loose Tempo podcast spotlight, where we talk about all the trending topics in dance music and showcase upcoming platforms, music, and artists. Today's Friday, and we got to have a special guest, when we do these episodes. You might know this person right here. If you guys are previous Loose Tempo viewers, we've had a couple of tracks of Burn on the Guess That Tempo. But please welcome my special guest, Burn in the building, bro. What's going on, dude?
Hey, what's good, everyone? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. First podcast, huh?
First podcast ever. First interview ever.
Yeah. You're doing this podcast with like headphones on you. Like you're able to hear your voice. Like is there like a difference in like how you think you might sound?
I hate my voice, so yeah, it sounds really weird. Like hearing it.
It sounds nice. I think it sounds good.
Thanks.
I think everybody on YouTube and SoundCloud can agree that the The voice is perfect, dude.
I should do some ASMR.
Huh?
I should do some ASMR.
What? Hey, tell me what is that shit, bro? Like, is it just people just like silently like in a microphone do? Is that
Exactly that.
But what's the significance of that? Like, is it just like Foley? Like, is it just people doing Foley?
It's
Pretty much.
relaxation.
Yeah, it's
and shit.
relaxation,
Yeah.
bro. It's like a meditation
Do that.
thing.
Do that again.
And now I'm gonna crunch the papers up. That's literally how
That's what they do,
They
yeah.
say that shit, bro.
And there's people that get millions of views for that shit.
Bro, the world is weird. I mean, people got to find a way to relax, right? And I guess that's one way to do it.
I'm gonna take a sip of alcohol.
Bro, the rest of the episode is only ASMR.
All right, before we start a segment, quick hits, burn. Dad, you see? Oh, no, bro. And it be sounding clean, though. You know, this should be sounding clean when we whisper, too.
Yeah.
Where do you see my...
You guys have done that before.
hiding in the bushes. Yeah, I heard a track called Hiding in the Bushes, and they're literally just whispering. They're like, hold up, I'm hiding in the bushes. Like, they're literally just doing, I guess, ASMR type rapping.
ASMR, bro.
Yeah, because I will come across those videos on YouTube. I'm just like, okay, what is the significance on this? And then I would also see other videos where it's like ASMR for chilling, relaxation, meditation. I'm like, bro, meditate, how?
So Yin Yang Twins are basically ASMR rappers, right?
That's why that shit was soothing, bro. When you heard that shit, wait, you see?
That's why it popped off in the club. I feel it. That makes sense now. It makes a lot of sense.
Like, burn, bro. Where are you coming from right now?
Palm Desert, California. So 10 minutes from Palm Springs.
Born and raised?
Born and raised.
Word. I don't really go out there as often. I used to have a cousin that stayed out there. I moved back over here in Mobile, but he used to be out there in Desert Hot Springs.
Okay.
So I wouldn't really go out there as much, but dude, do you guys, I mean, before we start Quick Hits, which is a segment we do here at Lucid Temple, I want to talk more about like the area you're coming from, which is like the desert, Palm Springs, Desert Hot Springs type area. Like, how's the scene out there? Like,
So,
are you born and raised?
I was
from Palm
born and
Springs?
raised there, and let me tell you, there's not a lot of scene out there for dance music. There's a lot of DJs, but I feel like a lot of DJs are like nightclub DJs, so they play a lot of top 40s. There is a developing scene out there right now. Like we're trying to start something. But if you're trying to party, really, like you know, I'm always going out of town. Like I'm always going out of town to network, or even your events that you guys have for low end. That's like the nearest thing from Palm Springs, other than like on occasion. One of my buddies is starting Ravecella, so he's
sick.
he goes by DJ Lake. Shout out DJ Lake, super good DJ. But they're like once every 4 or 5 month type events. You know, there's not a whole lot. It's not like if I get a Friday or Saturday night off, I'm not gonna be partying back home.
Okay, and do you feel like that's like pretty much the same response with like the majority of everybody? That's like in like Desert Hot Springs, Indio, Coachella. Like, do they just not go more towards that side? Like more towards Arizona? It's more so just like more towards LA and Riverside.
I can't speak on that because I don't know. I know that there's a great scene out in Arizona. Like I've been a few times. I love it. But I can't speak for, you know, the desert and what they're doing, because right now I feel like we're not doing much back home.
All right, and it's usually just like the typical like nightclub where maybe a DJ will drop like an EDM track or two, and like that's like the closest like you'll get to those vibes. Like,
so there's one. I wouldn't call it a club though. I would call it more like an enhanced bar. It's called Bart, and that's in downtown Cathedral City, which is closer to Palm Springs, and they're like the only ones doing electronic music. Usually house. You don't hear a lot of bass music, but more on the housey side, techno and tech house. But literally, like, they're probably the only ones that are doing it frequently.
all right, so everyone that's like in your area, Palm Springs area,
Usually will play
that's
at Bart.
typically the place to go if you're not wanting to go like out of town per se.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, and that place has been around for a while now, or it's just
That's
new?
actually the first place I ever DJ'd at, and it's been around. I don't know. I want to say like 8 years, maybe more, maybe less. But that's like the only place that I can think of. You got other night clubs like Moxie and Village Pub, but they play a lot of reggaeton, a lot of like perreo music, you know?
All right.
Which I fuck with too. It's just for electronic stuff. Bart's like the only one.
Okay. Yeah, I've always wondered how the scene was out there in the desert because I've pretty much been like raised here my whole life in Mobile.
Yeah.
So I kind of have a good feeling on how the IE stands compared to like how the scene is in LA and other places. But yeah, I never really knew like how the scene was in the desert. I'm not really from out there.
I would definitely say that the IE has more of a scene than we do back home. That's why I'm always trying to like come out here. Yeah.
For you. Hey, but we can always meet halfway. I'm Morongo. Hey. You like to gamble?
Do I like to gamble? Sheesh, I do, but I don't. I don't because I have an addictive personality. So the few times that I have gambled, I didn't want to stop, but it gets scary and dangerous, especially when you're broke.
I feel you on that.
Sir, you can't bet your shoes. Fuck it. I mean,
they're worth $100. What you mean?
All right, man. So you ready to get into our segment called Quick Hits?
Let's do it.
All right, bro. So for this segment, it's pretty much like a personality quiz. Kind of brings out more like your personality traits. Gives opportunity to the listener and viewer to kind of have a much more inside look into your personality with dance music. These are pretty easy questions, nothing too complicated, and we're gonna time you. So try not to think too much about it.
You're gonna time me?
Yeah, we'll time you for sure. Let
me check some alcohol.
Now you good, bro. Check some alcohol.
We're timing this too.
This is you guys' first time on the channel too. This is you guys' first time on the channel. You guys are digging the content. You guys are digging the spotlight. Check out Guess That Tempo. It's a segment that we also do here at Lose the Tempo, where we grab a bunch of dope music from SoundCloud and other platforms. We showcase them. We have the guest Guess the Tempos, and it might even become our tempo champion, which Bird has the opportunity to do today.
No pressure.
So if you guys are just coming across the spotlight, check out the Guess the Tempo episodes. Check out our live sets as well. We have a bunch of dope live sets in there as well. We're still going to be building up the catalog as well. So subscribe to the channel, leave a thumbs up on the video, and hit the bell alert button and stay notified. All right. Appreciate y'all. All right, Burn, you ready to hit the quick hit segment?
Let's go.
All right, man. Here comes the first question. What's your social media handle?
Burn Official on Instagram, and then just Burn on Twitter.
Got you. Favorite DJ software?
Recordbox.
Cool. Age you started at?
Oof. 3 years ago. 23.
Favorite genre of music? Subgenre of dance music?
House.
Favorite music streaming platform?
Spotify.
Favorite BPM?
130 right now.
Special skill?
Special skill? Shit. Producing.
Cool. First festival?
Coachella.
Why?
Because I was 10 minutes away and I snuck in.
Hey. We gotta talk about that.
I was about to ask you about that.
What is your dream festival?
My dream festival? I don't know if I have. Actually, that's a lie. Electric Forest. I like the ambiance around it, and I think that'd be cool.
It looks amazing, dude.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the above shots that they get at night and stuff? Bro, it's so insane. It's like,
I love anything foresty, so I just feel like combining a forest with dance music. Oh,
right. Yeah. Have you ever been?
Never.
Same. I want to go so bad.
The closest was that one gig we got up north. That was like the closest to a little a feel for things, right?
Yeah, we did a festival last year called
Jester threw. Yeah, Lucid something.
Dreams Festival, and it was at the Mountain something center up north.
Yeah, I was near Sacramento up north,
and it wasn't like super high production or anything, but they had 2 different stages and they had vendors and stuff like that. So it was really cool. And yeah, it definitely gave me a feel for what it would be like for one of those, big intense festivals and stuff like that. But just being out there in general, it's a vibe. When you go camping, it's a vibe. Now adding dance music on top, it just, I don't know. That would probably be an ideal setting for me.
100%.
I will add to that. I've been recently camping, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm more of a hotel person. All right, if we're gonna go camping, let's go glamping. Is that what they call it?
Yeah. Glamping.
It's just the richer, fancier, comfortable.
Dude, honestly, I can't go about my day without waking up and showering. I just feel like my hair's not the same if I don't shampoo it.
That's the problem I run into that's the problem that I ran into when I first did the camping at Nocturnal.
Mm-hmm.
it's like, all right, I'm gonna use the showers that they provided, but what people don't know is like if you're not there early in the morning, like you're gonna wait in a long ass line, and if you're willing to wait in a long ass line, do that. But I ended up getting like some shit from Amazon. It's like a big pouch of water, and it had like a funnel, and I had to like hang it from a tree, and I pretty much was just like bathing myself like in public and shit. I mean, obviously I had like boxers and all that, but like I don't know. It's just nothing like a shower feel, like going inside, and then nothing like going in the hotel and fucking just laying on that bed. And yeah, big differences for sure when you're staying at a hotel versus staying in a tent. So just keep that in mind for everyone that's like thinking about doing camping for the first time. You know, it's just you got to be mentally prepared for like being uncomfortable sometimes and shit. But you go glamping and just make the experience a bit more smoother.
Yeah, I mean, I think going to festivals in general gives you like a little bit of uncomfortableness because there's hella people. There's no way getting around it, you know? So camping on top of that, I can see how you would not be like...
especially having to go to the bathroom, like...
Fuck, yeah.
Porta potties.
There's a lot of inconvenience to that. I definitely understand it, but there's a lot of convenience to it at the same time, you know? So
yeah, you gotta sacrifice one for the other and shit type shit.
Yeah, pretty much. Do you want AC or not? You feel me? I don't know.
Yeah, wet wipes. That's all I'm gonna say if you're doing camp. Just fucking get wet wipes. You're gonna thank me later. You're gonna fucking thank me later. And wet wipes. Sponsored by Wet Wipes. But you mentioned you started doing the DJing stuff 3 years ago?
Yeah, so I've been a musician for over 10 years, but I started with like rock bands, like playing a guitar and stuff. Then I got into electronic music late. So like when everybody was listening to like early Skrillex or Daft Punk, I used to actually make fun of that kind of music, you know? I was like a naive little kid who thought like, you know, I remember saying like, oh, dude, like DJing and producing, like that's not a real talent. And then now I'm in it and I'm like, holy shit, this is harder than like guitar was for me, you know? And so I have a lot of respect for people who like, you know, who do that and like who kept doing it. But yeah, basically, I think I heard Louis the Child, old school Louis the Child for the first time. I heard a remix of Zella Day by Compass. And that was just such a fresh sound. I was like, holy shit, like, what is this? And like, I started just like looking up artists similar and like songs similar to that, like future bass vibe. And I think future bass is what got me into electronic music. And then when I started DJing, because I tried to pick up production first, but I was ass at it. Like, it literally sounded like beep boop bop sounds. Super, super bad at it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to DJ. And I got pretty good at DJing pretty quick and was like, damn, like maybe I should try to produce again. And then actually COVID gave me like all the free time in the world to like really just like learn as much as I can about production. So I would really say I learned production during COVID. Like the start of COVID is when I started producing.
All right, and what was like your introduction to like mixing and like DJing? Like, was it like virtual DJ? You got into like turntables first?
No, I used a controller. It was a DDJ 1000 and record box. But again, you know, my buddy at the time gave me like a playlist full of songs to just practice with. And a lot of it was house music. So that's how I got into house. I was like, okay, like this is kind of easy to like, you know, dance to and kind of mix and blend. And from there I was like, cool, I want to make shit like that. But I still like future bass a lot. So I was like, how can I make dancey future bass music? So I feel like that's what I'm trying to do now is like there's like a new wave right now. One of my favorite producers, I think he's only like 19, but he's from France. He goes by Sox, SOXX.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out Sox. Super, super mad, talented producer. I'm on one of his labels called BVRRN, and he's also the A&R for Gold Digger Rex. And
okay.
I just signed with them, by the way, too.
Oh, you just signed with Gold Digger?
Just signed with Gold Digger.
Oh, okay. Breaking news. Hey, so Musa Temple breaking news right here. Have you announced this yet or no?
No.
Oh, damn,
So,
bro.
yeah.
Hey, you see, Musa Temple, we out here.
Another shout out to Tripbox because it's a collab with them.
Big shout out to Tripbox. It's a duo, right?
That's a duo. They're 21 years old, LA based and Orange County based. Mad talented kids, dudes. Sorry, my boys. Love you. But yeah, we have a song called Runaway that's coming out on Gold Digger. Don't know when yet. That's still being decided. But that was a big, that was my goal for 2022 last year, is to be on Gold Digger. So in December, Sox hit me up and was like, I'm sending this to the team. Like, I love it. And I was like, dude, it's not even 2022 and I'm already getting like the green light. That's sick. But he basically, going back to him, he started a wave called Pastel House. And that's, you know, we were talking, he was like, I consider you a Pastel House artist. And for the longest time, I didn't know how to describe my type of house music because it's very melodic, very synthy, and, you know, pads and shit.
Yeah.
But now I would just say it's Pastel House.
Okay. Hell yeah.
Never heard of that. Pastel House.
Yeah.
UK house, bass house.
It's a blend of UK garage with future house with future bass.
Damn, bro.
So earlier you had said that you had got into EDM late, like, but I don't think you really did because you say you like the more future bass sound like that. That's relatively new in EDM in general. Like I was into EDM for a minute, and I remember when the terms future bass and bass and future house came out. Like that was.
I totally forgot about Future House, bro.
Yeah, that was like early what
2013, 2014, Oliver Hilden, Chami shit.
Yeah, so like that was probably like not too long. You know, that sound probably just developed a little, and maybe that's what attracted you, that new style of synths and stuff. So I wouldn't even say you're new, like
2000,
you're late to it. You're
2015 is when I got into it, but I didn't dive into it as much as I do now. You know, like,
and even now. So until 2015 to, or say 13 till now, that's 9 years, right? That's new for a genre to be out. So you could still be technically one of the people to be like, you know, developing the sound and, you know, making it your own type shit, which it sounds like you are. So
that's what I'm trying to do it.
Now you are, bro. Like it's a lot of like producers, they don't see this right away. And I'm starting to catch on to it too. Like they'll have a distinct sound, but they don't know it. But everyone around them will say, oh no, like this is a your type track. This is a your type track. But they won't get it. You know, they'll be like, oh, I'm just making, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
And I feel like that's kind of where, like, when I hear a track for you, I'm like, oh, this is a burn track. Like, I see it. Like,
I love that, bro.
It makes sense. Yeah, yeah. So, like, definitely you're still new into it. Like, this is still a new scene type shit, especially for that type of music. So
I think as an artist, we're our biggest critique.
Facts.
And we're also very, as much as we can be confident in the stuff we're making, we're also the hardest on ourselves. And so like even my girlfriend, she tells me like all the time, like, dude, you're doing some pretty big things. And it's like, if I could look at younger me and be like, yo, like basically the things that I'm doing now is what I was dreaming of doing, like when I started. But now that I'm doing it, it's like, no, like I have miles to go, you know, like it's not enough. Like I want to keep pushing myself, keep going. I don't think I've even broken like the gap, you know, like I feel like I finally put my foot in the door. I'm finally like meeting people. I'm finally making music that I feel I'm proud of, and I'm happy to showcase as myself. But I just feel like that's step one. I feel like I'm barely in step one. You know what I mean?
I believe it. Yeah.
Like I feel like I was in beta mode before, and now I'm on step one.
Okay. Okay. So this is version 1 right here.
Yeah.
This is burn, and now you're just on the level ups.
Exactly.
Okay, I feel it. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, like you see the level ups come. I mean, we're hearing the level up as you go, you know, and we're seeing it too. Yeah, it's really dope to see. Honestly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What's some advice that you could give to like some people that might be facing kind of like that, like the struggle of like, oh, like I'm not too sure if this is like like you say, sometimes you get like you're not too sure, like, oh, I don't know if this is my sound, or oh, like I've gotten to here now. It's just like
being the
now
biggest critic.
Yeah, you know, like
Okay, the best advice I could give probably, everybody wants to have their own sound right away. With me, I spent a lot of last year exploring different genres. So I have like a future bass EP out with my buddy District 13 from Arizona. I have a trap song actually with Monada.
Hey,
Hasn't been
boy.
released yet. That's on the verge of coming out soon. I've been kind of like everywhere, but I found that I always went back to like that melodic house. That was just like, it was more me, you know what I mean? Like, but because of that, that's when I was like, okay, like that's what I should focus and perfect. And I think to anyone getting into production, explore sounds. Don't limit yourself to anything. Don't say, okay, I'm gonna make only house music because that's what I like. Like keep exploring different genres, BPMs, until you feel like good about it, until it feels right, comes naturally to you. That's the advice I would give. Another advice would probably be like, yeah, keep on DJing, keep on perfecting it, but try to dive into production a little bit because I feel like the door opens even more for you. That's all I'm gonna say on that.
That was definitely good advice, especially about exploring genres. Because you're right, a lot of people will try to just produce the stuff that they like to listen to, and maybe like you're better tuned for producing another genre, maybe in the same realm of what you like listening to, but maybe what you like listening to could give a freshness to a different sound, you know?
Yeah.
So that's definitely good advice.
I've definitely learned a lot of new techniques because I explored different genres, you know, and I've not perfected because I'm never gonna have a perfect mix down. There's always room to grow,
for sure.
but I've improved my mix downs based off of exploring different genres.
Okay, yeah, facts. And also about being your biggest critic, like at the end of the day, you kind of have to because no one else is gonna be it for you, you know. So that's a good mindset to still have at the end of the day.
But there are some people that be making some fire and they be like, this shit's ass. I'm like, nah, bro, that shit fire. Release that shit.
Yeah.
You know what we're talking about.
Thanks.
Nah, well, I mean, you're producing, bro. What are you producing on? FL Studio?
Yeah, I use
FL
FL
shit.
Studio.
FL
gang.
gang out
let's
here.
go.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I started with
right.
Logic, but the minute I picked up FL, I was like, oof, this feels right. And
Feels good, huh?
Feels good.
He says it feels good. Huh?
Feels good. Dude, the stock FL plugins, like I feel like you don't really need anything else. Like I have a lot of other fancy plugins, but I'm always going back to the stock FL.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna ask every producer this: what's your go-to number one VST or plugin that you, when you open your DAW, it's for sure there?
So you want me to give you like a category of each one? Because I use Serum a lot, but I feel
Like top three, top
three?
four. Yeah.
Serum, Fab Filter Saturn, and for a while it was the Pro Q3, but the new update on FL, like the EQ2 on that is just amazing. So
Okay.
and it's less CPU, so I use that a lot. Yeah.
Okay. I know that.
And then probably the Reverb 2 on FL because it's clean and
Yeah.
simple.
You like the reverb?
I like the Reverb too, but I don't
Yeah.
just patch it on there. I actually use a peak controller
Yeah.
and then I link it to the reverb. So that way, whatever's playing, it like ducks down until the very end and then the reverb comes out. So it's a
Okay.
cleaner
Yeah,
sound.
yeah.
It doesn't sound far away.
Yeah, and there's no like resonance on it.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel you.
It leaves much more space too, right? The minute like that particular reverb hits, like for whatever other elements you have in that same.
Exactly.
Frame, yeah.
It's all about the space.
Yeah, facts. No, and I like how you mentioned now, like it's really is space when it comes to mixing. Like a lot of people forget to kind of put like their instruments in stereo or like certain things in mono, and I think that's very important too. Like creating space in the mix, because I know that when we get into production, you look at the levels and it's all like waveforms, so it's all kind of like flat. It's not nice. It's not necessarily 3-dimensional what you're seeing, but the mix itself is kind of 3-dimensional sounding, especially now with technology. Like you could, I would just say, take advantage of that space. You know, maybe pan some things to the left, or maybe some things to the right. Or if you know some things in mono, you want to stereo it a bit more, like just do that because the space is there, even if it doesn't sound like we hear it. There is space, and that it comes to like having a really clean mix too. It's like getting rid of unwanted frequencies, making cuts in the EQ on certain instruments, cutting frequencies you don't want to, make space for other frequencies, other elements, and yeah, I like how you brought that up because
another thing I do that I think is super important is always reference your final mix in mono, always, because I can't even tell you how many times I saved my mix because I put everything in mono, like the full mono, and I'm like, oh wait, now I can't hear the main synth, you know, because it was too wide.
Yeah.
So I always at the end just reference in mono, even do some of the mix down in mono. And yeah, for those of you that don't know mono is basically everything straight versus stereo field is everything, you know, around. But yeah, nerd talk.
There's more there's YouTube videos on it. I mean, y'all got YouTube, y'all got Google. No, but so that's what you started making then. Was just straight up like that style of house. Pastel house is what you're calling it.
I tried to do bass house, but it didn't feel natural to me. I felt like it wasn't my thing. You know, I love bass house. I blast bass house all the time. Some of my sets include a lot of bass house. I know a lot of the two low end shows that I did for you guys was like mostly bass house because I fuck with bass house, but I can't make it. It doesn't feel natural to me. So I make a lot of like my roots, like that future bass house twist.
I feel it. Oh yeah. What was it?
Pastel House.
Pastel House.
Yeah.
Okay. Hell yeah.
And I like how I have a really like good feeling that you're making music that you want to hear personally, you know, because when people kind of categorize you in a genre, it's not very necessarily like well known. It's really safe to say that you're not really trying to make like the shit that other people are making, you know, which is not as common you see with producers nowadays. Like a lot of producers like want to just hop on the next wave, and that's cool. But I could tell that for someone like you, when you get into production, like you're trying to make some shit that, you know, maybe not necessarily everyone's making. I mean, like the genre could be just like a bit more twisted. In your case, you know, more melodies, a bit more harmonics in there. So I think that's really cool that, you know, you're wanting to make the shit that you want to make, regardless if there's not like a particular hype or particular like popularity to it. And that's a really dope risk that you're taking, bro. Because I know like some people, they make the shit that, you know, the hype's talking about. So like much respect to that, you know, going the avenue of like trying to do like your own style. And you know, you're growing your fan base, dude. And I can't wait to hear you know, grow more, you know.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, going on that topic a little bit, I was talking to my buddies in Tripbox. They were telling me the same thing. Because they're mad talented. I'm a little biased because, you know, I'm fans of them. But they were telling me like, dude, like it kind of sucks because, you know, some of these labels are rejecting us because they want the tech house sound, they want the bass house sound, and I feel like both of us are not. We don't have that sound. We don't have the techie sound. We don't have that bassy sound. We have our sound, synthy house, you know, pastel house, and a lot of labels are looking for like what's trending. So we are kind of riding our own wave right now, and it can be it's cool, but it could be like lonely, you know, a little bit. They were telling me too that like we feel like we're like the only two artists in California, anyways. Like I could name you a ton out in like Arizona or Europe that are making similar stuff, but out in California, I haven't met any artists that are doing like melodic house stuff like us. And I think I kind of pride myself in that in a sense, but I wish there were more people to talk to about that and have sessions with.
Mm-hmm. Like if there was a Pastel House documentary, like you'd be in that bitch for sure.
I feel like I would.
Like,
I would.
Nah, you pride yourself, bro. You probably would fucking be like, nah, I'm directing this shit.
So, because you're describing how you produce very synthy, do you think that comes from an influence of you playing the guitar?
No, actually, believe it or not. It comes from wanting to replicate Louis Child and Flume back in the day and trying to make future bass. But every time I try to create something like that, my old roommate at the time, he'd be like, dude, why are you copying like, you know, other artists? And it's true. Like I wasn't making music for me. I was trying to make music to sound like someone else. But I was also learning at the time. I think now I've just taken what I really like to hear and incorporated into what I want to play and make. But as far as the guitar stuff goes, I was a huge metalhead. So
yeah,
no, if I was gonna take my guitar stuff anywhere, it'd probably be in like if I made like a rhythm dubstep track, you know.
Were you like so when you played the guitar, were you just tabs? Is that what it was, or did you know theory?
I did not know theory.
No?
Tabs.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's where I'm at too. Like I know tabs for the guitar and bass and stuff, but I didn't really have my theory. I knew a few chords and stuff like that, like simple E. anything I had a bar with, bro, I was done. I was like, all right, it's a
Yep.
wrap for me.
Power chords.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But I think it gave me a sense of how to structure music a little bit, because you get to realize where that instrument sits in a song, and then when you go to producing, you get the okay, now I know where this should sit. Now I know where everything else should build around type thing, you know.
100%.
So when I think of the guitar, I think of main synth. It's the main synth of my track, you know.
Okay.
And so that's where
yeah.
I kind of get the influence of. But yeah,
I respect that. Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, no, cool.
Now you mentioned earlier that you have signed a release with Gold Digger and Tripbox with Tripbox.
Yeah, Tripbox, and we have we just got the form to fill out with Gold Digger like a week ago. So
All right, well, where do I sign?
But dude, that was very, very exciting. I actually sent them 2 tracks, and the A&R Sox approved both of them, but he had to send them out to the rest of the A&Rs, and they ended up choosing one instead of both.
Yeah.
But it ended up being with Tripbox, and they're actually already on Gold Digger too. So
Okay.
it's we also actually got an offer from Bite This Now, which is Bite This's sub label. But we ended up going with Gold Digger.
Sick.
Okay.
Options out here.
So Bite This Now. What other labels would you like to release too?
Another one that is like a dream for me would be Noir Sur Blanc, which is a lot of UK garage vibes and a lot of they do techie stuff too, but a lot of my favorite producers are on Noir Sur Blanc. So definitely them, definitely Hexagon. The one with Manada is actually on Noise Porn.
Oh, it's coming out on Noise Porn?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's tight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Damn, you got some heavy releases coming out then this year. That's sick. That's sick.
When you're shopping for label releases, what is it that you look for in labels that determines all right, we're gonna send this record over here or we're gonna send it over here? What are some tips too that you'd want to share to other people that are going through that process of not too sure what type of label I want to do this release with? I got this demo. Where should should the home be? What's your process behind that? Why is it Noir Sur Blanc one of the labels you want to release?
Yeah, so basically, I'm not gonna send a label out, a demo out to just any label. I make sure that whatever label I'm sending to, I've at least heard some of the releases on it, and I make sure that it's a similar vibe. That's the first thing, because I'm not gonna send a house song to a dubstep label. That would be unethical. 2, I always look at the artists on the roster of that label, because I'm like, okay, did I get influenced by that, or is it basically my thought process is, okay, I discovered these artists by following the label, so it's like a networking thing for me. I'm always hoping that by me releasing on that label, somebody will discover me the same way I discovered those artists. But also 3, and the biggest, most important one is, I always ask myself, okay, is being on a label going to benefit me, or can I just self-release this? Because I have releases on a lot of labels, and a lot of the labels haven't really done anything that I couldn't have done, other than distribute it, but I could have distributed it myself. At the end, I'm still paying for the promo. I'm still paying for playlisting. And a lot of people don't know that that's the behind the scenes kind of stuff. A lot of people think you just release music, you get discovered. But I always tell people, if you open up a restaurant and it's got the best food there, who's going to know unless you pay for advertisement on it? And unless you put those billboards up, flyers, a little bit, you got to invest in yourself.
Yeah. Any business, you got to invest in yourself. Yeah.
Now, I just want to know, what's your typical budget for a release?
Oof.
If you were to do a self-release, right now, you're doing a self-release, what's your typical budget for a release? Because there's a lot of behind the scenes, especially when you want to get it out there, you want to get it discovered. Where's your process for that? Self-release.
Definitely. Depends on how I feel, how popular the track's gonna be, if it's gonna get played out. I think one of my most popular songs last year is a song I have called "Still in Love." That was out on No Face Records, and I put a couple $100 into promoting it, and it ended up getting played out by Bingo Players, Zonderling, LP Gilby, couple other people, Going Deeper, Max Vangeli, you know. I didn't put a lot of money into that, but luckily the label gave me some of their, you know, promo pool, DJ promo pool. But I don't know. I think the most I've spent so far on a campaign is probably like $400 or $500.
Okay.
But I don't recommend that all the time unless you feel like you have like a hit. Because if that's how your thought process is gonna be, then you're not gonna want to create often, because you're gonna be like, fuck, like I have to spend every time I release. So I don't always spend on my releases.
Like sometimes the budget could be less, sometimes it could be more, just depending on like how you feeling about that particular record.
Exactly.
Okay. What about you, Robert? What's like your self-release like process?
In full, like
I mean, just like in general, like you send it out to Spotify playlists to get like, do you put some promo into it? Like, what's your budget for like a self-release? Average.
It depends on the type of track. So if the track has like vocals on it, that like, because I like to sample a lot of vocals, because I like to have fun when I'm producing it, and I'm pretty sure you hear it in the tracks I have. I'll use like vocals from like cartoon shows or vocals from, you know, stuff that I like in general. So I can't usually monetize those and put them out on like a Spotify or Apple Music. So for those tracks, I'll usually just try to get as much visual promo as I can, because I just want people to see the whole idea and why I chose to sample certain things, and I go the direction I am. But obviously, I'm gonna pay for like sponsors, like on Instagram, Twitter. There's an app called IO Play or something like that that'll distribute it on Google sponsorship, on YouTube sponsorships. And that could be as much money as you want to put into it. You know, they give you usually on those sites, on when you get those sponsorship, they give you a built in how much money do you want to put in. This is a rough amount of how many people are roughly going to see it or whatnot. Mm-hmm. And like I said, if it's one of the tracks that I put vocals on that I shouldn't be really distributing like that, I'll go that way, sponsor and post like that, because you're not really making money off of that. You're just showing people.
Yeah. It's
different than putting it on a platform, releasing it, and then, you know, since because you're making money off of that. But if it's a self-release, obviously I'm going to make my visuals. I'm going to let people know like a month or two out before that something's coming. Not going to let them necessarily know what's coming. If something's coming, then within like a month time, I'll do like a preview of the track or the EP, whatever it is. Then within like 2 weeks or so, I'll show them like a little snippet of it, give a little visualizer. Day of, you get the whole visualizer. Yeah. But that also shouldn't stop. And this is something that I think everybody should know. Like if you really want to work your track, work it for months. Or if you think this is something you believe in, people haven't heard it yet, keep working that track, keep putting promotion into the track months after, because sometimes some of your tracks are slow burns. You know, sometimes you made a track this year, but people are just getting on it next summer, and then it's the song of next summer type thing. You know, so if you believe in your track, like you were getting at, if you think it's a hit, put in as much promo as you think you want for it. But it just depends on what I believe in, you know, like you were saying.
Yeah, no, 100%.
But yeah, roughly though, it'll come out because I need to pay for my track art and the visuals because I don't make my own visuals. Yeah. So it's going to be like 4, 5 around there for like a track I really believe in, definitely.
And I like how within that speech you just gave about like your self-release and like you using samples, I like how you didn't let like, oh, I have to sacrifice like not releasing to like Spotify or Apple Music and not be able to make the tracks that you want, you know? Because that's what I like about SoundCloud is that you could sample shit and you could just still make the records that you want. And like, you didn't stop that from like not letting you finish that track because, oh, I can't release it on Spotify or I can't monetize it, you know? So that's what I like about SoundCloud is that it really gives the creator creativity to be like, yeah, like if I want to share this, I could do that. Mm-hmm. I could do it on the SoundCloud platform.
Yeah. Shout out to platforms like SoundCloud or Mixcloud
or other places.
Yeah, exactly. SoundCloud. Because those are those are a producer's best friend. Because bro, I don't like always producing like serious. I don't want to say serious tracks, but like I want to have fun when I get on my DAW. You know, I want to laugh when I get on here. I'm by myself too for the most part, so I gotta like entertain myself. You know, when you start working on a track and you get into the I really like this synth progression that I'm making here. I really like these notes and chords. It gets tedious, so to the point where you're not really having too much fun. You're really just putting the technical details into getting your vision in.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I don't like to be too technical. Sometimes I just like to get on my DAW, throw some things in, like I said, laugh, have fun with it, and release it. Because I mean, at the end of the day, you should have fun with what you're doing, you know, and your profession and whatnot.
That's the whole reason we started this.
Facts.
I feel like, you know, and sometimes we lose sight of that and it becomes stressful, and then, you know, where's the fun?
And like at the same time too, I've been doing this for like damn near like almost 10 years, like learning to produce, that whole aspect. And 10 years of just constantly getting on your laptop, you gotta either really love it or find ways to keep loving it, you know? So like that's definitely something I have to do. I have to make the fun. I have to make this fun. I have to.
Yeah, you know what's also a good way to be when you do a self-release or you do like any release, to be honest, like in terms about promotion, is landing it in a really well-known mix, bro. Just like how you did with that Dr. Fresh mix, right? Yeah, tell us more about that, bro. Congrats.
That was flattering. Thank you. So I've been listening to Dr. Fresh mixes for years before I even started producing and DJing. So I would always listen to his mixes and be like, dude, these guys are like mad talented. Like, how did they get to do that? You know, how did they get on a Dr. Fresh mix? How do you go about getting your music heard by his plays? His plays alone were like in the 10Ks, you know, and up. So a month ago, he had on his Discord, it was like submit to his house call ID thing for this upcoming mix that just came out a few days ago. So I submitted it. I submitted it with no hopes, literally zero, because a lot of his stuff is G house, bass house oriented. But I was like, all right, what do I have to lose? You know, literally, I was just like, what do I have? Zero to lose. The cool thing, the best thing that'll happen is he listens to it and he vibes to it and says, all right, whatever, it's not fit for the mix. I'm driving to work. My buddy Vic sends me a screenshot. He's listening to Insomniac Radio and he's like, I know this fucking song. And it's my song playing on the mix. And I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, what? I was geeking. And he's like, dude, his mix comes out tomorrow, but he's his moderator for Discord. He's like, your song's on there. And I'm like, what the heck? So I waited the next day around like 3 p.m. It came out and sure as shit, it was on there and it was flattering. It was really cool. Now I just have to keep pushing myself harder. You know, that's literally how I see it.
Yeah. Definitely.
I'm not going to stop there and be like, I was on a Dr. Fresh mix. So, you know, no.
Nah, use that as like positive affirmation to keep going, you know?
Yeah, I feel like we're like the next generation, you know? And so one day I want to be the one hosting mixes like that and having people send me their tunes. So right now I feel like I'm looking up to him and I'm super stoked to be a part of that. But that's going to be me one day. I'm going to push myself till it happens. And if it doesn't, all right, at least I tried. You know?
Yeah, bro, I'd rather say I tried and it didn't happen than say I didn't try.
Exactly.
I'm never going to say I didn't try, bro. Like, I mean, sometimes that's all it takes for some people is for you to try it out and there you go. That's all. That's all it took. It's for you to try. That's it.
You ever think about getting into starting your own label? Like later down the road? Well, once like you're kind of all done with the whole like playing shows, like producing like as much, like, or maybe that's just something that you add on to like your daily tasks. Maybe you're still producing, maybe you're still playing shows.
100%.
That's something in the future you plan on maybe adding on to yourself. Like
I haven't thought about it.
Channel label.
I haven't thought about it yet.
Because damn, Pastel, you could be the actual tastemaker for Pastel House. Be your own.
That's where I was
movement.
gonna say was like I haven't thought about it, but then I was like, okay, like because I've been rejected by a lot of labels just because my sound doesn't fit their label, and it hurts sometimes because it's like shit, like why is my song not good enough? But then you think about it and it's like no, it just wasn't. It didn't fit the vibe. You gotta ask yourself. So if I ever did start a label, it would literally be a label of what I, like sounds that I feel like I would play in a like Hexagon, for example, Don Diablo's label. He signs songs that I feel like he would play on his shows, and that's a label that I would want to start, but I wouldn't want to do it until I'm like more known, I feel like right now I'm still, like I said, I'm still in chapter 1. That's like a later down thing for me.
Dude, Don Diablo, I have not heard that name in a minute for some reason. When I think of Future House, I think of Chami, Oliver Hilden, Don Diablo, a bunch of other cats too, but damn, Don Diablo, bro.
I think you were asking me what a dream label would be for me too. Confession, for sure.
Oh, okay.
And I have 2 buddies that are on Confession. That one of them just got on Confession. He goes by Foxed. He's an Orange County based bass house producer. Really, really talented guy. And then my other homie Doggo, and he's also Orange County based. And they're both on Confession, both banging tracks. Abstract and Chami play Doggo's. It's a song called Shoot to Kill. Every single event that Chami or Abstract plays, his song gets played out. And I think it's mad.
That's tight.
And I think right now music is very disposable because so much is being made. So when you hear a song constantly being played out, I feel like that's when like, no matter how disposable music is, you made a banger. You should be proud of that. I mean, we should be proud anyways, because that's art we created, but it's probably a good feeling.
No, I think when you're a creator and you recognize and you know that like people are like still listening to your track after like maybe a week or after a month, because it is disposable. Like the attention span of music consumption is like way more sure than what it was back in the day. Because like I said, there's just so much material. Mm-hmm. People are realizing that time definitely is valuable. So they're just trying to get to the stuff that they really, really like or they like at the moment, right? So it's crazy how you mentioned that. Like it is disposable, and that's like a fact. People. That's why I've noticed too. Tracks nowadays they're becoming much more shorter, and I'm noticing a lot of dance music producers are not necessarily making an intro, like a traditional intro to tracks now. I'm starting to see tracks, and I'm doing this now too with my tracks. I've noticed like when I first started producing, I would have like a mixable intro for like mixing purposes, but now when it comes to just like the final product, what people are going to listen to, I feel like I just go straight into like the breakdown or like the chorus or whatever. Just so that way, like I hear this tip that I got from somebody. They were saying that like you have about like 5-10 seconds the minute someone presses play to kind of leave an impression.
It's like a book. Like if the front cover looks cool, that's going to get your attention. If the first chapter, the first paragraph, it's like a song. So yeah, 100%.
To add on to that too, don't half-ass on your artwork. Just spend some time on that artwork. I mean, if you don't have money or funds or just to do the best you can, and just like hope that like whatever it is that you are satisfied with, like picks up the slack from like. Again, I don't know. Like artwork is so subjective, right? Like people can just be like, yeah, this is what I feel like the artwork should have been, but like from the consumer public aspect of things, like maybe it may not be as visually pleasing. As the artist might say, it might be.
You're more inclined to listen to a song if the artwork's dope, I think.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I scrolled past the song that might have been like my favorite song ever, but the artwork was not the best. So I'm like, if the artwork isn't good, how do I know your song is going to be good? And that's very ignorant mindset, but...
So it's not that concept. I understand why you would say it would be ignorant, because at face value, yeah. But at the end of the day, you say that because you know what it takes to package out a song, right? So when you see someone else take care of their art the same way you do, it's an appreciation. So when you see someone not giving their art the same it's like, you want to give like your work. You want to make sure you appreciate it in every way. You want to make sure you package it in all because it's art, Mm-hmm. And then when you see someone don't really care too much about that art, you scroll, That's why I would like say you're walking out of a museum. There's certain things that'll catch your eye.
But adding to that, sometimes the artist has no control about how the artwork's going to look. The label picks a stock, theme. And that also goes... into how I select a label. Like if they have shitty artwork, or if their artwork is literally just a template that they slightly change, I might not go with them. I have been on a couple where it's like I just didn't care about the artwork. I was like, I'm doing this because I got homies on this label too, or I support the people behind the label. But a lot of times when you go with the label, you're not really given the creative freedom to pick the artwork. Luckily, one of the labels I'm on, they're Blanco y Negro Music out in Spain. I got to design my own artwork for it. My friend Jess from back home, she's a really, really talented media designer. And she sat with me and she was like, all right, what are you visioning? And I was like, all right, well, I want you to listen to the song and tell me what you feel like would go with it, and we'll work from there. And right now we're thinking of collaborating on TikTok together, where she'll send me like a picture of something she painted or drew or designed, and I have to make a song based on how that made me feel, and vice versa. I'll make like a song and she has to design something off of what that made her feel. And that's kind of what we're going to start doing.
That's cool.
That's pretty cool. And it's cool that you had that creative control to do like your own artwork for that label. Because I have had discussions with other label owners, and a lot of them are like much more smaller channels, like not like Confessions or like any type of that, right? They're gonna stick with their own format of artwork. But I have been in a situation where I've talked to label owners and I've told them like, oh, like if I were to distribute on your label, like what is it that you'd be able to offer me? And if I do sign with you guys for a release, like am I able to like give you guys my own artwork? Because like a lot of times, like I feel you, like as an artist, you want to be able to show your vision to its truest form, and that goes down to the artwork too. And so I think what I want to give an advice as well to people that are like looking into like releasing to a label, maybe like small to mid-sized labels, like definitely negotiate. Like again, if you want to do it, if you want to go into like bringing in your own artwork style, like you could definitely negotiate that. If the label really like messes with your music, they think it's gonna benefit them. Because sometimes they will break a rule of them of like their aesthetic looking for their visuals or their artwork. So definitely keep that in mind when you're like emailing, like let labels know like, hey, like can I be able to am I able to produce my own artwork for this label? I know your label has some particular format, but if you're willing to do that, like I'm more inclined to release with you guys, I suppose. Because that's a factor I don't think a lot of label owners think about a lot. They just think that, oh, like we're a bass sub or we're a house sub, so we're just gonna be getting like all these house entries or bass entries. But I feel like not a lot of times they think that, oh, like I don't want to release on this label because like the art, like you said, the artwork is like not hidden, or because you want to be proud of like what you release most of the times, and artists feel that way most of the times. And I think there's like definitely a room to negotiate those terms with.
I don't think it hurts labels. To ask.
Does it? Yeah, it does not hurt to ask. And most of the times, if they mess with your music, 75-80% more of the time they'll be like, yeah, dude, like I'm down. Like as long as you just gotta know what you're doing with your vision. And I think like label owners can see that. And especially when you have a proven catalog of people listen to your shit, especially if you're self-releasing and you have like your own style, label owners can see like your activity from past years and they'll be like, oh yeah, like you seem like like what you're doing with your vision. Like we'll let you step into that creative aspect, and like we'll deal with these aspects, whether it's promotion, distribution, playlisting, or whatever it is. Yeah, just negotiate. I don't feel like the first thing they tell you is like, oh yeah, like let's release like and sign this contract. Like no, I'll be like, well, first like before I do this, like can't do this, and just also too make it a practice. I'm trying to get better at this too because I'm not perfect, and I think as artists, we definitely just be more clear when it comes to like emails or contracts. Like, hey, like if it's gonna be distributed to streaming platforms, whatever the royalty split is, like what's the payout? Like, is it quarterly? Is it like yearly? Do I have to ask you in a year and like ask for the check and shit? Like
a lot of these labels too have like thresholds where you can't even get paid out unless you reach the threshold for like a month, and and.
Like you won't get a payout unless you made $100 in streaming revenue and shit. Like there is a lot of fucking clauses in that bitch, bro. And just know what you're signing, understand that, and choose the option that you believe is best for you.
100%.
Yeah, man. Are you ready for our next segment, bro?
Let's do
EDM Confessions.
Let's go.
All right, so you're not too familiar with the segment at all. Like you said, like you didn't know what to expect from the podcast and everything.
I've seen some episodes, but just off of like the Instagram stuff.
Got it.
All right. True.
All right. Before we hop into that, we're gonna take a quick break. We're about an hour in. Let's do a little regrouping.
All right. Self-release.